As the towers of deceit crumble to the ground.
Well, we are now seeing as to how the residents of nearby societies are now celebrating here. They are distributing laddu, they are playing Holi, so it is a big day of celebration for them. Let me try to ask from them about the reason of this celebration. Though it's evident that they are celebrating the demolition of Twin Tower, let me try to ask them, laddu किस लिए?
एक डिमोलिशन हुआ है इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन का 10 साल के करप्ट प्रैक्टिस 10 सेकंड में गिर गया.
The residents believe that the downfall of the towers is a tight slap on the face of corruption, and rightly so.
It's really awesome here. It's like the corruption, the illegal thing which took 10 years is blown down in 10 seconds. This is demolished like nothing. All over smoke everywhere, and really happy, and this is a big slap to the people who are doing corruption in India.
However, it's a day of mixed emotions for the home buyers who invested their hard-earned money into the super tech towers as they witness the towers turn into rubble.
जो बचे हुए हैं उनको कोई हार्म ना हो, क्योंकि जो होना था वो तो हो चुका, जिसने किया वो भी हो चुके. भ्रष्ट है, त्रस्त है, आई डोंट केयर. अब हमें उनके साथ कुछ नहीं लेना देना है. ये तो जो होना था बिहारी जी की इच्छा से सब हो चुका. तो हम ये चाहते थे बिहारी जी किसी को कोई तकलीफ ना हो.
In the aftermath of the super demolition, the area is engulfed with clouds of dust and smoke. But the clouds of corruption have definitely been cleared out with this Super Sunday demolition. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
After a decade-long saga, the Super Tech Twin Towers in Noida have been demolished, all in a total of about 9 seconds. After years of corruption and a long and winding legal battle on the violation of construction laws, 3,700 kgs of explosives brought down the Twin Towers in nearly instantaneous spectacle. Even as the residents of the adjoining societies start returning to their homes, gas supply was restored in the surrounding areas after the Twin Towers were demolished in the afternoon. In a press conference, Edifice informed that glasses of few of the buildings' neighboring areas were broken. However, safety measures are being taken and forces are still monitoring the situation. And another blow to the Congress, another party leader, M.A. Khan, quit the Grand Old Party in Telangana. The former Rajya Sabha MP resigned from the Congress right on the back of Ghulam Nabi Azad's exit. And in a letter to the senior party leadership, he said that the party had been going downhill since Rahul Gandhi took over as the vice president. Following the exit of senior leader Ghulam Nabi Azad and 7 others from the Congress, the resignation trend is likely to continue in the party's Jammu and Kashmir unit, as Azad plans to float his own party to contest the forthcoming elections in the Union Territory. Mass resignations are expected by the Congress workers.
Burning question.
Welcome this Sunday evening. These are the 9 p.m. headlines. It's the biggest demolition in India. Noida Supertech Twin Towers reduced to rubble in a controlled implosion. Three and a half tons and more of explosives. Twin towers razed to the ground in just 9 seconds. $100 tall symbol of corruption reduced to rubble. It's the biggest message to the corrupt. Big post demolition exercise underway. Fire tenders, smoke guns deployed. Debris is now being cleared. Air quality remains under control after the massive demolition exercise. The AQI remains in the moderate level. As towers of the sheet implode and bite the dust, residents rejoice. Celebrations break out across Noida.
Burning question.
We are bringing to you a special edition of Sunday 9 p.m. right there from Ground Zero, where the Twin Towers were brought down. Shawan Sen, reporting live all day, brings to you that edition from there. Over to you, Shawan.
Well, thank you very much, Abhishek. A rolling coverage of the Twin Tower demolition. But there are larger questions that emerges from the demolition of the Twin Towers. Before I begin the debate, viewers who are tuning in right now, let me give you a quick glimpse of what really remains. A battle that was fought for almost 9 years. Twin Towers brought down in just 9 seconds. But questions that are being raised right now, these are raging questions for those home buyers who have been taken for a ride, all because of corrupt babus, corrupt builders and the mafia that exists. Tonight we'll raise those pertinent questions. Tonight we will question those who've tried to trample people's right. Let me just quickly take you through the latest details, a glimpse of what remains, because this perhaps is that iconic image, serves as the biggest lesson to those who have essentially taken the home buyers for a complete ride. An urban housing menace that continues. What you see behind me, the little that you perhaps would be able to see right now, is the rubble. The Twin Tower 100-meter tall building that was brought down at around 2:30 this afternoon. Within 9 seconds, this entire tower was completely brought down. Adjacent buildings are all intact right now. This was an operation which was carried out with clinical precision. But there are raging questions right now. The fact is, for how long would the home buyers be taken for a ride? For how long will people have to run from pillar to post for their own hard-earned money? And also the fact that apartments that they were promised were never given to them. Here is a full report, and then we start the burning question.
A breathtaking marvel of modern engineering. 115 residential apartments with a fascinating view of the city.
आसपास की सोसाइटीज़ में कोई डैमेज ब्रॉडली नहीं है, लेकिन जैसा मैंने बताया अभी जस्ट ब्लास्ट होके हटा है। एक घंटे के अंदर स्थिति बेहतर पता लगेगी।
लार्जली जो पूरी एक्सरसाइज है एज पर प्लान्स थी और उसका एग्जीक्यूशन बिल्कुल एज पर प्लान हुआ है। बाकी अभी एक्सपर्ट टीम्स जो है वो मौके पे हैं, वो असेसमेंट कर रहे हैं। हम लोग भी अब उधर ही जा रहे हैं। उनका असेसमेंट के बाद जो है आपको फिर अपडेट देंगे।
हमारे को एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने रिक्वेस्ट किया था टीम स्टैंड बाय करने के लिए, जो उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से हमने टीम्स यहाँ लगा रखी हैं। रेस्ट जितनी भी डिटेल है प्रशासन देख रहा है, उसको तो आपको वहाँ से मिल जाएंगे। एनडीआरएफ का जितना काम था वो पूरा है हमारे अभी तक कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं।
The explosion was followed by loud cheers as residents of nearby societies celebrated. Republic's reporter from the ground were included in the celebrations as residents shared laddus while other groups danced. But on another side, it was a day of mixed emotions from the home buyers who invested their hard-earned money into Supertech towers as they saw the towers descend into rubble.
हम इसीलिए वहाँ रेंट पे रहना शुरू किया था कि जैसे घर बनेगा हम इसमें शिफ्ट हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि बच्चों की पढ़ाई सब उसी एरिया में हो रही है, तो वो इजी हो जाएगा। लेकिन आज वो उम्मीद ऐसे तो ख़त्म ही हो चुकी है। लेकिन कम से कम आप लोग के थ्रू योगी जी तक, बड़े बड़े अधिकारियों तक ये आवाज़ पहुँचे कि हम क्यों बैंक के डिफ़ॉल्टर हैं। जो चीज़ मिट्टी में मिली हुई है हम उसके लिए डिफ़ॉल्टर हैं। पैसा मत दीजिए, कम से कम डिफ़ॉल्टर तो मत बनाइए। हमें आज़ाद तो कर दीजिए उस टैक्स से जो हमारे पैन कार्ड पे और हमारे अकाउंट्स पे लगे हुए हैं।
जो बचे हुए हैं उनको कोई हार्म ना हो, क्योंकि जो होना था वो तो हो चुका, जिसने किया वो भी हो चुके। भ्रष्ट है, त्रस्त है, आई डोंट केयर। अब हमें उनके साथ कुछ नहीं लेना देना है। ये तो जो होना था बिहारी जी की इच्छा से सब हो चुका। तो हम ये चाहते थे बिहारी जी किसी को कोई तकलीफ ना हो।
The Supreme Court had on August 31st, 2021 ordered the demolition upholding a verdict by the Allahabad High Court. It held that illegal construction has to be dealt with strictly to ensure compliance with the rule of law. And as the two towers symbolizing corruption bite the dust, the question remains, will this demolition help put a check on realtor, bureaucrat, politician nexus? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was all fine till the time we spoke about the spectacle that we saw this afternoon. But can we really forget that who is really responsible for this? Shouldn't we raise this question for those Noida authorities, corrupt officials, because of whom these two buildings behind me were standing for almost a decade? Who is to be blamed for those who had to run from pillar to post? Not to forget the Emerald Court Resident Welfare Association who had to knock the doors off the court. Had it not been for the Allahabad High Court and then the Apex Court, what would have been the situation? Why is it that we really need the judiciary every time to step in? Why isn't those very institutions meant to deal with this kind of a situation act upon such nexus that is prevalent? Joining us on the burning question tonight, we are broadcasting live right now from the very spot where the twin building used to stand till about a few hours ago. On the broadcast is Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, Abhishek Agarwal, on my left, resident of Supertech Emerald Court, Rajneesh Nandan, he's the president of Parasnath Prestige Apartment, also the general manager of Roko Parivar. Manish Pandey is joining us, whistleblower of real estate frauds. Ekta Gupta is here with me on my right hand side. She's invested in a project like Ekta. There are several others tonight. While they may have taken a sigh of relief, they're also questioning for how long are we going to be ignored for the longest time maybe. Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP, and Dikshu Kukreja, world-renowned architect and urban planner, and Anurag Bhadoria, national spokesperson, Samajwadi Party. Let me straight away begin by asking my guests here tonight. First to you, Abhishek. Undoubtedly this was a spectacle, but the fact of the matter is that these were, after all, I would say, tower of monumental corruption. Would you, as a resident, say that we are taking a sigh of relief, but would you also say that there are several other questions that need to be answered, and tonight politicians are joining us on this broadcast. We have Charu Pragya of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Anurag Bhadoria of the Samajwadi Party. They perhaps will have to also do some answering. So I want you to take these questions toward the politicians who are on this broadcast, rather than just celebrating. Of course, we need to celebrate, but at the same time raise some very pertinent questions.
Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks so much. You're very true that yes, we are very happy that this building has been brought down, and we have given our 100%, the RWA, the other members, our legal team. We spent around roughly 9 years, which is, if I'll start calculating into hours, minutes and seconds, it's a huge number, right? I am not willing to calculate right now, right? But we have spent on hard-earned money. So always when you go to buy a property, it's always a rosy picture, right? Any builder shows us, anybody thinks that. Then when I bought this property in 2010, so Supertech gave me a very rosy picture that this would be your premises and this would be another thing and there would be nothing, all lavish green apartments, green areas, greeny everything. So a number of things. But the moment I shifted here, the building started building one by one, and slowly, steadily, it was like a building which is having 40 floors, and even it's not a single building, it's a twin towers, and then a number of flats in each floor. So as a resident, we were concerned, and then we all get together along with the RWA, we knocked the doors of the courts. So why in India every time a builder or anybody sitting at an authority level gives such approvals? I don't know why this is happening. We as a common people don't have any rights. Every time we have to knock the doors, we have to go to the authorities, and then if we go to the authorities, they never answer us. They'll ask you to run pillar to post for getting our queries and solutions. So why this is happening? Then if it comes to the government, then it will say that was done by the BJP government, it was done by the X party, Y party, Samajwadi, and all those Akhilesh Yadav, a number of parties. Why? Being a common man, I am voting you here. You guys need to support us on a ground.
It's at least the opening remarks that you have made right now, Abhishek, is the fact that almost you spoke the mind of several other residents, even I for that matter. Let me also bring in Mr. Nandan. He's dealt with a lot of builders himself. The fact that he's been part of the task force. In fact, I'll request all my political guests, Charu Pragya and Anurag Bhadoria, to basically listen to what Abhishek and Rajneesh Nandan tonight have to say, because I would urge you politicians to perhaps respond in the manner that people who have been suffering, they finally get an answer that are we really serious? Are we really serious to tackle that unholy nexus that exists? Do we really want to crack down and never see these kind of towers coming up, towers of deceit, towers of corruption actually come in? Mr. Nandan, I want to ask you this question, that where exactly lies the problem? Who exactly is responsible? Are we to be really satisfied that when these two twin towers were built and finally when the Supreme Court essentially called it an act of collusion between corrupt officials as well as corrupt builder, that's the time when the crackdown began? We have only two officials, viewers, two officials who have been suspended. Is that really enough, Mr. Nandan?
I think you have hit a right point. Is that enough? We have waited for a decade, around a decade, to have this 10 years of demolition, 10 years of illegal construction going in 10 seconds. And today, as a taxpayer, and today our hard-earned money is involved, the feeling which we have today is, is this launch of a project is wise enough to spend money? Do we get a project on time? So the problem is at coming to the serious issue of many residents, many customers, you can say, many Indian citizens who have invested their hard-earned money in any building and any properties. Why we have allowed to happen this construction going on? When there was a first query, why it was not stopped? Why the authority didn't get to the checklist? Where is the problem in the checklist? Why the checklist was not made? Why the all approvals was not checked? and why the milestones was not there? Why is the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 in our working, in our corporate working? What we say, we make a checklist, then we make a action plan, then checklist, then you have milestones, then you have all the clearances and monitoring, and then you have the execution date. You find with many of the customers, many of the buyers, they are not getting buildings on time. And second is the building which is on our backyard. So there are a number of customers, number of buyers who have still not got the money back. So why this is happening and why it is not stopped in the first stage itself? Because when we go for launches, when we go to big a flat, what we see? We see that, oh, they have got the land permission. Number 2, the flat, the bank will give a loan on the flat. All clearances has been done. Once it happens, then the life is smooth. Why there is not a simple checklist and why there is not a monitoring? 1 or 2 people somewhere, and why every time the judiciary has to come in? Where is the administration, everybody, and where is that will for administration plus politician, for everybody to stop it at the first place?
You know, Mr. Nandan, when you say where is the administration, now this is exactly at the point that I want to bring in my political guests right now, Charu Pragya of the BJP and Anurag Bhadoria of the Samajwadi Party. Anurag Bhadoria, first to you. You've been in power in Uttar Pradesh for a very long time. And the question that I want to ask you is that back in 2005, when this proposal was brought in, and then in 2009, you've had Noida authorities gleefully making that changes and allowing these 2 towers to really come up. The fact of the matter is that had it not been for the corrupt officials within the Noida authorities allowing Supertech to come up with this building, things would have been very different. Today, perhaps we would not have been standing here while many would have been clapping today when the buildings were coming down. Let's not really forget the hard work, the pain that people had to go through. And somewhere down the line, the politicians are equally complicit. It's the politicians who do not want to take the responsibility. So hence I want to ask you and Charu Pragya to today respond. Charu Pragya, for the fact that your government is in power, what is it that you are really going to do for all those who are still very suffering here in Noida and several others? This is not a problem only specific to Noida, it's becoming an urban housing problem.
First to you, भाई, इतना लंबा सवाल है। देखिए, मैं आपसे बता रहा हूँ कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी का भ्रष्टाचार सामने देखने को मिला है। 2009 में
अनुराग भदौरिया, सवाल करना मेरा काम है। आपको मेरे सवाल से प्रॉब्लम है? मेरे सवाल जितनी भी लंबी हो, आपको जवाब तो देना पड़ेगा ना उस पे।
अरे बोल रहा हूँ भाई, परेशान क्यों हो रहे हो? आप तो हाइपर हो गए भाई, आप बीजेपी से थोड़ी हैं। आपने सवाल पूछा है, मैं जवाब दे रहा हूँ। भारतीय जनता पार्टी का भ्रष्टाचार सामने देखने को मिला। 2009 में बहुजन समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार थी। बहुजन समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार में इसकी एनओसी हुई और इसको बनाने के ये बिल्डिंग पास हुई। 2011 में इसकी और बढ़ाई गई। 2012 में हमारे सरकार बनने के पहले 2 मार्च को ये 40 मंजिल की कर दी गई, और जब 40 मंजिल की हो गई, उसके बाद जब 2014 में समाजवादी सरकार ने 15 ऑफिसर्स के खिलाफ इंक्वायरी बैठाई कि ये गलत हो रहा है, और हाईकोर्ट में जब ये लोग गए तो हाईकोर्ट में समाजवादियों ने इनका साथ दिया। उसके बाद फिर 26 अधिकारियों के ऊपर में हाई लेवल की कमेटी बैठाई, जिसमें सीईओ नोएडा अथॉरिटी थे, और बोला गया 26 अधिकारी जो इसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं, इनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई होगी। अब मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, उसके बाद बीजेपी की सरकार आ गई। अब 2017 से बीजेपी की सरकार है। 26 अधिकारियों के ऊपर में क्या इन्होंने चार्जशीट फाइल की? क्या उन अधिकारियों के ऊपर इन्होंने कार्रवाई की? नहीं की आज तक। ये अभी देखो 9 साल का इनका स्ट्रगल है, जो लोग इस पे स्ट्रगल कर रहे थे। 6 साल से अब बीजेपी की सरकार है। 3 साल हमने अधिकारियों पे कार्रवाई के लिए उन पे फाइल बना दी थी, हमारी सरकार चली गई। ये इन्होंने 26 अधिकारियों के ऊपर में कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की। उन अधिकारियों को पोस्टिंग, उन अधिकारियों के खिलाफ इन्होंने कोई कार्रवाई ना करते हुए उनका फेवर किया। अब इनसे पूछना चाहता हूं, जो भ्रष्टाचार इनके सरकार में बैठे हुए, 4 दिन में रोड टूट जाती है, क्या इन्होंने कार्रवाई नहीं की? 4 दिन में रोड टूट गई। इन्होंने बुंदेलखंड एक्सप्रेस बनाया, 4 दिन में टूट गई। भ्रष्टाचार पे कार्रवाई नहीं की।
Charu, just give him 30 seconds more. Give him 30 seconds more. Just give him 30 seconds more. Take whatever Anurag Bhadoria has to say and respond blow by blow response coming in from Charu Pragya.
बोलेंगे तो मैं कब बोलूंगा?
ओके,
मुझे बोलने दो। मैं
अनुराग जी, आप कहते रहिए, कोई आपको मना नहीं करने वाला है। आप सवाल आप मुझे ये पता था, आप पॉलिटिशियन हैं, आप यही चाहेंगे कि आप ये कह दें कि भारत एक सेकंड आप सुनिए, एक सेकंड अनुराग भदौरिया जी, ये अनुराग भदौरिया जी आप एंकर नहीं कर रहे हैं शो, मैं सवाल पूछ रहा हूं आपसे, आप ये कहना चाहते कि आपने कर दिया, भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने कुछ नहीं की, वो सवाल मैं भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी से भी मैं वही सवाल मैं करने वाला हूँ, उसकी चिंता आप ना करें, उसकी चिंता आप ना करें, जो सवाल मेरे को उठाना मैं जरूर करूंगा, ये आज आप आखिरी में
अरे इतना बैटिंग क्यों कर रहे हैं, मुझे बोलने तो दो, आप इतनी बैटिंग में क्यों परेशान है, आना धुंध मारे जा रहे हैं, मुझे बोलने तो दीजिए भाई। मैं कह रहा हूँ कि इनका हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट में घोटाला हुआ, क्या कार्रवाई की नहीं की, घोटाला हुआ, क्या कार्रवाई की नहीं की, टीचर भर्ती में घोटाला हुआ, क्या कार्रवाई नहीं की, यहाँ पे महिलाओं के साथ अत्याचार हुआ, क्या कार्रवाई।
चारू, just 30 seconds more. I'm just giving him 30 seconds. Charu, I'm giving him 30 seconds. You can respond after that.
अधिकारियों को क्यों बचाते हैं?
He's not making sense.
ये अधिकारियों को क्यों बचाते हैं, मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ। लगातार आपने देखा होगा
नहीं, बस अनुराग जी आपने कह दिया, आपने अपने स्ट्रक्चर, आपका ये, चलिए आपने अपनी बात रख दी, आपने बात रख तो दी, मैं सवाल आपको किस बात की कर रहा था, आप जवाब अब किस बात का, आपने जवाब दिया कि कार्रवाई आपने शुरू कर दी। एक मिनट सुन लीजिए, सुनिए, पूरे दिन नहीं है, कई सारे सवाल है अनुराग जी, एक मिनट रुकिए, अनुराग जी ऐसे नहीं, अनुराग जी आपका यही कहना था ना, आपका यही कहना था, एक सेकंड अनुराग जी, ऐसा करके किसी को नहीं, अनुराग जी ऐसा किसी और बाकी किसी को जवाब देने के मौका तो दीजिए। चारू, आई वांट टू, चारू, अनुराग जी आपने कह दिया, अनुराग जी
Please don't derail the debate, Anurag ji. Now you've had your say and it's other panelists' turn. Very fairly.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर से ये बिल्डिंग टूट रही है।
Okay.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी
अनुराग जी बस,
Charan, I am not going to speak
चारू,
over him.
I want to ask you, बस हो गया अनुराग,
सुन तो लीजिए भारतीय।
Okay, I'm asking, no, I'm going to I'm intervening right now. अनुराग जी आपने कह दिया जो कहना था आपको, मुझे सवाल पूछने दीजिए। एक सेकंड अनुराग जी, आप चिल्लाते रहेंगे,
जिसकी बिल्डिंग थी उससे
नहीं, आप चिल्ला के अब क्या कहना चाहते हैं? ये अनुराग जी प्रॉब्लम, चारू, I don't believe in muting anyone, but what I'm going to no, the problem here is that चारू 1 minute, अनुराग जी आप चिल्लाते रहेंगे, कोई फायदा नहीं होने वाला, सवाल नहीं,
अरे आप बोलने नहीं दोगे,
एक सेकंड, हल्ला कोई नहीं मचा रहा है, अनुराग जी हल्ला आप मचा रहे हैं, एक मिनट
मैं एक मिनट बताइए, अगर नहीं बोले देंगे तो
इसका ये थोड़ी मतलब है कि आप पूरी डिबेट में आप ही बात करें। नहीं, एक सेकंड अनुराग जी, ये धमकी मत दीजिए मुझे, ये धमकी मत दीजिए मुझे, ये धमकी नहीं, एक सेकंड आप क्या अनुराग जी ये ड्रामा बंद कर दीजिए, आप ये सवाल ओके, चारू ओके, लेट मी टेक दिस स्ट्रेट क्वेश्चन, वन सेकंड, लेट मी स्ट्रेट अवे आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन,
मेकिंग नो सेंस।
आप बोले नहीं देते,
one second, Anurag ji, I would just request my producers also to step in right now. Charu, can I take this question to you? Charu, let's be honest for once. Let's be honest, Charu. You know, just going big once. नहीं, एक मिनट वापस,
अरे 10 सेकंड दे दो,
चलिए आप 10 सेकंड ले लीजिए।
मैं पूछ रहा हूँ क्या इन्होंने,
चलिए 10 सेकंड लीजिए,
मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ क्या इन्होंने सुपर टैक्स से चंदा नहीं लिया, क्या इन्होंने चंदा लिया कि नहीं लिया, ये बता दें। एक बात, दूसरी बात, 26 ऑफिसर थे जिसपे समाजवादियों ने कार्रवाई की थी, इन्होंने उसके ऊपर में चार्जशीट क्यों नहीं फाइल की, क्यों 26 अधिकारी को बचाते रहे जो उस बिल्डिंग में शामिल थे।
चलिए आपके 10 सेकंड हो चुके हैं,
फिर ये बता दें,
चलिए आपने सवाल पूछे। चारू, यू कैन कम इन, चारू लेट मी आस्क यू दिस क्वेश्चन, यस यू कैन, बस हो गया अनुराग जी, आपने काफी टाइम ले लिया है, बाकी को बोलने दीजिए। चारू, कैन आई आस्क यू अ वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन? No, I have got that. Charu, no one is asking you to speak. We are talking about a very sensitive issue. I have a lot of other people, and I would really expect some sort of a maturity to also come in. Anurag ji, आप ये भूल जाते हैं कि जब आप ऐसे लगातार सवाल उठा रहे हैं, कई ऐसे लोग हैं जो आज मेरे साथ हैं. For once, Charu, we need to also think about the home buyers. At the end of the day, today, as we were broadcasting, we've seen several of the senior citizens who are part of the Resident Welfare Association of the Emerald Court. This battle has been going on for almost a decade. Now, the political bickering will continue. I know that it's going to continue. But the fact of the matter, Charu, I really want you to come in on the fact of assurances on what can the government really do. Because here, as Mr. Nandan was pointing out, why do we have to take everything to the judiciary? Why is it institutions that have been designed to tackle such issues, why don't they step in? Why isn't that the Noida authority really is coming up, or RERA actually making it far more stricter? So I want a clear picture from you, Charu, keeping in mind it's a very, very sensitive issue, because people are tonight talking about what is really going to happen when we say Naya Bharat. In this Naya Bharat, are we really going to make things different for people, for urban living? Is it going to be different?
Yes. Yeah, Shravan, thank you for finally coming to me, and I will appreciate at least 1.5 minutes of uninterrupted time. I want to begin today by thanking and congratulating the able officers which were involved in this very safe demolition. I think this has been a victory of science and engineering, and it's unprecedented the way so much of explosives, like thousands of kilos of explosives, were used to safely build down an illegal construction. And honestly, this is the falling down of the past corruption that Uttar Pradesh has been riddled with. This is the beginning of a new way of life for not just the state but for the country at large, because we have a zero tolerance policy towards both corruption and illegalities. And for those who are saying that this is only a one-off situation, let me give you some data and statistics. As of today, in simply 100 days of Yogi 2.0, 844 crore worth of illegal property has been seized and demolished. So to answer your question, it is not always the court which steps in. We have a government which is vigilant and fair, and which is going to ensure that illegal construction is not allowed to stay standing. Shravan, I will request you to please intervene so I can get all my points across. I don't debate in a way where I have to speak over other people, and at the same time I appreciate my independent time.
अनुराग जी, आपको किसी ने रोका नहीं था। अनुराग जी, आपको किसी ने रोका नहीं था। आपको अनइंटरप्टेड टाइम मिला था।
This is not my style of debating. It does not matter what news channel it is. I don't scream and shout
अनुराग भदौरिया जी, आप गलत नहीं, एक सेकंड, आपको अगर लग रहा है, एक सेकंड, आपको अगर लग रहा है कि बाकी आप जाके दूसरे चैनल में चिल्लम चिल्ली कीजिए। एक सेकंड, 1 सेकंड, चारू 1 मिनट। अनुराग भदौरिया जी, आप दूसरे चैनल में जाके चिल्लम चिल्ली कर लीजिए, मुझे नहीं पसंद है ये। It's not going to happen. I'm just asking Raisa, if you can just break, just put his feeder down right now. I'm not going to allow this to continue. This is not going to happen. This is not going to happen. This is not going to happen.
Shravan,
it's a very serious issue. I want Charu.
Thank you.
You were talking about what is it that you can tell the people, because I want you in a short while from now. You'll also listen to a resident, and I want you to hear her also.
Quick.
So you
Shravan,
make your point.
I'll be very quick. I know we have a lot of panelists. Yeah, very quickly. So the point I was trying to make is that we have a very vigilant and a fair government which is ensuring every step of the way that illegal constructions are not allowed to stay standing. It does not matter which is the person who's put them up. See, in the past, this nexus of the presently opposition politicians and bureaucrats and authorities have created a situation where it was the common Indian that was suffering. And today when we have an FIR against 3 of the former CEOs of Noida Authority, there's actually a list of 24 officers. There is investigation which is being led by the State Vigilance Department under Yogi ji directly. So rest assured, nobody is going to go scot-free. Responsibilities will be fixed in a very strict manner and the culprits will be punished. At the same time, every single home buyer which has lost both time and money will be compensated with interest. Our government is extremely clear, like I said, that citizens will not be affected and harmed, because there was a government in the past from in fact 2004 to 2012, which is when Allahabad High Court gave the first order of demolition. The nexus continued in such a dirty manner that Samajwadi and Baspa politicians were only filling up their own pockets. They were working in a very unilateral direction where in fact land which was left out for a park was also used to create these massive towers. I don't understand how these buildings were even allowed to come up. But today is a victory for the people, for our judiciary and for our government. And again I want to repeat this, there has been use of new technology. People went to see this demolition. It just goes to show how far India has come, even in terms of using technology for complicated places where there is so much of population, where so many buildings are around at such close quarters, and we have done this without harm or injury.
Well, in the course of this debate, I'll also come back to you, Charu, because I want you to also hear. We have Ekta who's joining us from this very place from where we are broadcasting, just next to the this debris. But it's also that image that I want everyone tonight to take back home. It's a learning lesson for those who have taken the home buyers for a ride. It's a learning lesson for all those corrupt officials who think that they could have actually gone ahead and no one would have really stopped. Ekta, I want you to come in. I want you to tell all our viewers tonight of the harrowing experience that you have actually gone through because of investing in a particular project. And like you, I think so there will be thousands and thousands of people who've actually suffered and who are still suffering. I want you to tell all our viewers your experience of having buying a property in Noida.
हेलो सर, मैंने अभी अनुराग जी की भी बात सुनी, चारू जी की भी सुनी। हम कहाँ गलत हैं? हमें कब बताया गया कि ये लीगल प्रॉपर्टी है? हम तो एक आम बायर थे और एक आम बायर ने अपने लिए एक छोटा सा घर लिया था, जिसके लिए हमने 30 लाख का लोन लिया, 10 लाख 12 लाख अपने पास से दिए। वो भी सुपरटेक के पास गया। बैंक ने लोन क्यों दिया अगर ये इलीगल प्रॉपर्टी थी? बैंक ने क्यों लोन दिया? तो कहीं तो सब कुछ मिला हुआ था, हमारे हाथ तो कुछ भी नहीं आया। हम तो लोन ही भरते रहे, हम लोन भी भरते रहे, किराए के घर में भी रहते रहे, और फाइनली पता चला कि डिमोलिश हो रही है, पैसे मिलेंगे पैसे मिलेंगे। सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहाँ है जो कहता है सबको पैसे मिल गए या सबको पैसे मिलेंगे? कहाँ जाएं? हम तो पुकार कर रहे हैं योगी जी से, मोदी जी से, अनुराग जी से, चारू जी से, आप सबसे, कि हम तो अब नया घर बनाना सोच भी नहीं सकते। हमारे तो पैन कार्ड पे डिफ़ॉल्टर का नंबर लग गया है क्योंकि हमने लोन देना बंद कर दिया। कितना लोन भरेंगे जब बिल्डिंग गिर रही है? तो हम कहाँ स्टैंड करते हैं? हम तो नया घर के लिए लोन भी नहीं ले सकते दोबारा। और एक मिडिल क्लास तो लोन लेके ही घर बना सकता है, जिसके बच्चे बड़े हो रहे हैं वो अब कहाँ जाएगा? अनुराग जी प्लीज़ मेरी बात सुनिए और पहुँचाइए जहाँ तक आप पहुँचा सकते हैं, और हम जैसे लोगों को इस चीज़ से मुक्ति दिलाइए कि हम डिफ़ॉल्टर क्यों हैं। जो मिट्टी में मिल चुकी है इमारत, उसके लिए भी डिफ़ॉल्टर है।
मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ, मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ,
आप बताइए हमें क्या करना चाहिए?
सुनिए, आपको कुछ नहीं करना, सरकार की जिम्मेदारी बनती है। सरकार को वो बिल्डर को बोले जिस बिल्डर से चंदा लेती है, जिस बिल्डर ने इलीगल बिल्डिंग बनाई है, आपका बिल्डिंग, आपका मकान बना के दे। सरकार किस लिए है? सरकार क्यों चुनी है आपने? सरकार जनता ने इसलिए चुनी है कि जनता की मदद करेगी। सरकार अपनी जिम्मेदारी से नहीं भाग सकती। ये उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार की जिम्मेदारी है और सबके सामने सरकार आपको मकान बना के दे।
Abhishek also wants to come in. Abhishek also wants to. Charu, 1 minute. This has evoked a lot of response. Yeah, you will. I have. Okay, Charu, listen to what Abhishek also said. Abhishek, make a point. Abhishek, Anurag ji, आप वापस सुन लीजिए। अभिषेक भी कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं।
मैंने बोल दिया, सरकार की जिम्मेदारी है, सरकार मकान बना के दे। किसी भी व्यक्ति का, किसी भी मिडिल क्लास की
नहीं। अभिषेक कहना चाह रहे हैं। अनुराग जी, आपने एकता की जवाब आपने कह दिया। चारू ने, चलिए आप चारू और जवाब दे देंगी। चारू देगा। अभिषेक, व्हाट इज इट दैट यू हैव टू से? अभिषेक वांट्स टू आल्सो कम इन।
अनुराग जी,
सरकार आपकी है और आप अपनी सरकार अपनी जिम्मेदारी से कैसे?
अनुराग जी, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ, कहाँ गई वो सरकार, कहाँ गई वो गवर्नमेंट? जब ऐसा नहीं है कि ये सिर्फ सुपरटेक ने कराओ, बहुत बिल्डर्स हैं मेरे पास, बहुत बिल्डर्स के नाम है जिसमें मैंने भी इन्वेस्ट करा है। पार्शनाथ है जिन्होंने एक एक्सोटिका नाम का प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट करा 2006 में, और उन्होंने बोला 2010 में हम 11 में आपको रेडी करके देंगे। उन्होंने सारी पेमेंट्स ले ली, सब कुछ कर ली। आज की डेट में हमें 10 साल से ऊपर हो गए उनको केस फाइल करे हुए। वी हैव नॉक्ड द डोर्स ऑफ कोर्ट्स, वी हैव नॉक्ड EOW, एवरीबॉडी। आज तक कुछ भी अपडेट नहीं है। और जो हमसे पहले केस जीत गए थे उनको पैसों की प्रॉमिस करा गया, आज तक उन्हें भी नहीं मिला पैसा। क्या आज की डेट में आप ये बोलना चाहते हो, जो मेरे पेरेंट्स रिटायर हो गए, उन्होंने अपने रिटायरमेंट फंड्स दे दिए, तो क्या आज की डेट में हम 15-15 साल 20-20 साल इन बिल्डर्स के फ्रॉड में, या फिर जो ऑफिशियल्स बैठे थे, बाबू बैठे थे, उनके फ्रॉड में हम अपने घर बार जला दें, हम सड़क पे रहें? कौन जवाब देगा उसका? आप हमें ये बताइए। इररिस्पेक्टिव वो कोई भी गवर्नमेंट हो सर, मैं पास दी बॉल में बिलीव नहीं करता हूं ना जी।
मैं आपसे कह रहा हूं, इसकी जिम्मेदारी अभी बैठी हुई सरकार की है। सरकार जिम्मेदारी ले। जो बिल्डर डिफॉल्ट हो रहे हैं, बिल्डर्स को बुलाए और आपका मकान दिलाए। सरकार इसकी बात क्यों नहीं करती? सरकार किस लिए है? नोएडा अथॉरिटी किस लिए है? ये बिल्डर डिफॉल्ट हो रहे हैं और आप परेशान हो रहे हो, सरकार हमसे डिबेट करा रही है। सरकार को मैं बोल रहा हूँ, सरकार कान खोल के सुन लो, ये लोग परेशान है और आपकी जिम्मेदारी बनती है उनको मकान
सर आप भी थे ना सर जी, ये कहना बहुत आसान है, ये कहना बहुत आसान है, ये कहना बहुत आसान है कि ये सरकार कर देगी, ये नहीं ये कहना
शायद आपने मेरी लाइन
जरूर करें,
नहीं मैंने कहा था।
I think so, this is getting more evocative. Rajneesh also wants to come in. Rajneesh, why don't you also make your point?
My only
Rajneesh wants to make a point. Rajneesh wants to make. अनुराग जी आप सुन लीजिए, आज सुनने के आज आखिरकार आपको सुनने के चारू I want you here Rajneesh please go ahead, make your point. Rajneesh makes his point.
I think we have to everyone and political party or politicians need to take it very firm. We are the one who vote for politicians to come in power. Okay, so you have to listen to us rather than we fight here, because it's a very, very critical issue. Ekta ji has raised one issue. When she booked the flat, the bank gave her loan. Number one. Number two, why the bank gave her loan? Number two, the important point is, when there was a first query, why this building was not stopped? Why people has to go to court? Where was the checklist? Where is the monitoring system? Where is the execution plan?
Can I respond to all of that, Shravan?
Let me bring in Manish.
Yeah.
Charu, we have a very interesting guest. Charu, just 1 minute. We have a very interesting guest also joining us, Manish Pandey. Yeah, 1 minute. Charu, I'll give you the chance. Just hear out few more people, because you'll get a full picture of what's really happening, Charu. And it would be much prudent if you basically respond after hearing all of them. That way, even they will have an answer from you. Because tonight, we are also making the attempt, not just to argue, Charu, but tonight we are also making the attempt that I want all my guests who have come here with their grievances, at least the least we will do is they at least will go back home with some answers. Hence, Charu, just hear them out. Manish Pandey, he is the whistleblower of the real estate frauds. He's joining us. Manish, you've heard what Ekta had to point out. Ekta is asking a very simple question. And most of us middle class people are asking this very simple question. That it is our hard earned money. We see the builder is showing us a nice dream that it will be, as Abhishek started off by saying that when I bought this apartment, I was told it will be green area on my left hand side, green area on my right hand side. What turns out is an ugly twin tower that comes up. Forget about that. There is not the other bigger concern. I pay my money, I never get my flat. So I want, politicians are joined in, but I want you, Manish Pandey, what is the issue that needs to be addressed urgently?
Home buyer in Dasco Toho home project. So that project is registered under RERA and they have around 700 flats. And on this project, there are 146 RERA complaints. Make the point, 146 RERA complaints, and RERA has ordered 76 orders for refund. They are sitting lying in the DM office. What the DM is doing? Why they are not executing the orders in timely fashion? Now this builder has admitted to NCLT in 2022.
There is only 146 complaints. There are few.
That is as per RERA. As per RERA order for this project. RERA one project only.
That there is only
Sorry, I'm talking about only one project.
He's basically talking about RERA. Okay, Manish, make your point. Make your point. I want you to raise the issue. What are the issue you're talking?
Yes. So I bought a flat here in 2015 with a loan from bank. So it is not only the builder. The banks are equally responsible for this pollution. They also sponsored these builders that this project is approved by us. And being a native home buyer, I don't know anything legality, that the project is approved technically, there is architecture drawings are available. And the bank not followed RBI guidelines. Same has been confirmed by the orders of High Court Delhi, Karnataka High Court, where they have favored home buyers to stop the EMI. So the question I raised to the bank, why they have disbursed 80-90% of money on such disputed property is why no action has been taken by the bank officials on their internal mechanism. I have raised complaint as a whistleblower to Axis Bank as well as ICICI Bank. Axis Bank is running 10,000 plus cases in Dwarka Court only for check bounce. When I spoke to one of their officials, they were not able to provide a relevant answer. They told that most of these are the secured loans in the terms of home loans. Where Axis Bank is hiding themselves, where ICICI Bank is hiding themselves, they have not followed RBI guidelines. RBI mentioned in 2013, NHB mentioned in 2013 order that they have to follow construction linked stages. It is not the builder demanding money. It is you have to verify with your architecture where the construction stage is. But with 20-25% construction they disburse 80% of the loan. So what a home buyer has to do. Now I have solved the EMI after 3 years paying EMI. I stopped.
No, one
मैं बोल लूं?
critical question I want to ask everyone today. Do you know you have raised a very good word called EMI. Today we are working for EMIs. Today we are earning our bread and we are working for EMIs. One day the job is not there and the EMIs are not paid. You know what happens to the home buyers or the general resident or the citizen of this country? Today, there is very easy to tell that the system is not there, somebody has collapsed the system. But where is the checklist?
Issues.
There are a lot of stress and a lot of deaths.
No, let me, gentlemen, 1 minute. Let me bring in also Dr. Vikram Singh. As a former administrator who's tackled Uttar Pradesh, he's perhaps seen it up front. He's perhaps also handled several such complaints. Dr. Vikram Singh, you've heard what Charu Pragya had to say, that yes, she's admitting that there are issues that needs to be handled, but there are assurances that Charu is making, saying that the government is taking cognizance of it. But having said that, is it easier than done? Because as you've heard, Mr. Nandan, Abhishek, Ekta, they're all raising this entire point that it's okay, we can continue with this political bickering, but give me an answer. Mr. Nandan is saying that easy to say EMI is there, I am working for an EMI every day. The fact is that if I lose my job, what really happens? Ekta is saying she's become a defaulter, and that too for this building, this tower of deceit, and because of that Ekta today is suffering. Dr. Vikram Singh, what is it that you would like to tell Charu as well as Anurag Bhadoria? Because somewhere down the line, they will have to go back and work on this to try and bring in some relief for everyone here.
Charu ji and Anurag ji, please listen to me very carefully. There is a concept in criminal jurisprudence as a continuing offense. If I start committing a robbery and I go from Delhi up to Jabalpur, that robbery continues till the time the crime goes on. And in this case, if the crime and the loot started in the year 2005 and continued till the year 2015, it is a continuous offense. And everybody, the highest political boss, the bureaucrats in the Noida authority and everywhere. Charu ji, we have very high hopes and expectations, and I will give you 2 checkpoints. You have to be cruel to be kind, shoot first and apologize later. Uttar Pradesh Qurbani mang raha hai, and everybody is watching whether you sacrifice the corrupt or you will be half-hearted, and you will be. And somebody said there are checklists, there are roadmaps. There are checklists, there are roadmaps, but to facilitate the corrupt and to facilitate the wheeler dealers. Of course the checklists are there, not for public welfare. And everybody, every single person, starting from the Noida authority, right from the topmost bureaucracy to the political bosses, everybody has facilitated the organized gang of criminals. That is what the problem is. Charuji, the vigilance inquiries must end in 30 working days. Put them in the fast track and we must expect the judgment in the 30 working days. In 60 days, Charu Pragya ji, it is perfectly doable and you can do it. Because the taste of the pudding lies in its eating. The blood, toil, sweat and tears of Ekta. Ekta has been feeding us at almost minimal profit, and how she's eking out a living, only we at Supertech Emerald Court would know what it means to work from the sweat of her brow. Then coming to those people who have paid their EMIs, and those EMIs, if they lose their job, if there is a scale down after the pandemic, how do? They don't commit harakiri, they don't commit suicide. It is for a welfare state to look after them and their families. It's a human tragedy, Charuji, which you must address. And Anurag ji, आपसे मेरा निवेदन ये है कि जो भ्रष्टाचार का ये जो इमारतें आज ढही हैं, उसकी जिम्मेदारी लेनी पड़ेगी, और जिसने भी इसमें जो मूक दर्शक बना है, उसको भी जिम्मेदारी लेनी होगी, जिसने कार्रवाई नहीं की उसको भी लेनी होगी. और ये 26 नहीं, इसमें तो ऐसा अधिकारी ढूंढना मुश्किल होगा उस दौरान का जो कि इसमें संलिप्त नहीं रहा हो. शब्द.
I also want to bring in Dikshu Kukreja. She's a renowned architect. Dikshu, if I can also bring you in, because I want a comprehensive understanding of it. Dikshu Kukreja, if I can also bring you in, what's going to be very important is that since you've perhaps dealt with several other projects, I'm assuming keeping a check on markets abroad. What is it that India is still lacking? No matter, we would like to sugarcoat it, make it glorified, look, everything is hunky-dory. But the fact of the matter is, issues still remain. And that's the reason why we are debating this tonight. Dikshu Kukreja, I want you to come in and tell our political leaders what is it that they need to do immediately so that there could be some relief for those who have been stranded in the middle.
Look, I feel this problem is not as complex as it is made out to be. We need to realize that in India, we are at the cusp of development, and what we are seeing on your screen today is not just a matter or issue which is limited to Noida Authority, but unfortunately it's spread across the length and breadth of the country. And if we need to see a sustainable development which moves forward, a fair development where honest home buyers invest their life savings for a roof which is promised to them, then we need to understand that this needs a more holistic answer. I'll give you a very small example. Projects tend to get delayed forever because one side, the authorities give a land to a developer to create a housing project, and after that, just getting approvals on that projects get stuck at environmental approvals. Now, I fail to understand that why is a land given for a housing development if there is no environmental assessment done before? And if it's done once, why do you have to go through this again and again? And there are tons of examples like that I could go on and give. The point is that these kind of projects are completely submerged and overwhelmed with local approvals, local authorities. The local authorities should be set aside when there is so much development going on in a country and areas like Noida Authority. Why are they not set separate departments which have a certain timeline? We are talking today of paperless and faceless organizations. The sad part is they have actually become approachless organizations. A normal citizen doesn't even know where to go and knock the doors for getting some clarifications, for getting his grievances addressed. So these issues really need to be seen, I think, more at a policy level. Otherwise, we will tend to see as much development, probably similarly demolitions happening across the length and breadth, and then celebrating the fact that, we are destroying symbols of corruption. Why are they coming? Why are they allowed to become taller than Qutub Minar before we realize, oops, they are symbols of corruption? So I think this is a malice which will continue to happen across the country unless we realize in a systematic manner how this needs to be addressed. And we have created authorities like RERA, but where is the teeth? Where is the power given to these authorities to look at real estate in a larger perspective? And that's why projects, even which we thought will get solved by coming of RERA and other authorities, projects are languishing in NCLT. The home buyers are still waiting for that dream home to come their way. So it's an issue, I think, which really needs to be going beyond these kind of political wranglings and be addressed at a policy level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now we've taken all views. Charu, I want you to come in. You've heard almost everyone, cross-section, people who have been suffered.
Yeah.
I want you to now, now of course, please go ahead and respond. I just want you to also answer that beyond what you are saying that it's already being done, I want what is it that the government is really planning and how is the government going to really tackle this menace?
Only I will add one question to Charuji, that why do we don't have a strict mechanism to check it in the first go? We have confidence. See, as a resident, as a country resident, we have a confidence in the present government of the central Narendra Modi ji and the state government. I am an unbiased guy, but can we have a right
all
system?
The questions
do you understand
are basically
how
addressing
much
the same thing, Shaman, and can I please respond?
No, what this?
No, I get it.
Please.
I get it. Everybody in the
only one thing I want to add. 10,000 residents. 10,000 residents has been displaced for 3 days.
Okay.
Who will answer
it? Charu uninterrupted right now. Charu uninterrupted because tonight everyone wants answers. Charu, go ahead. Uninterrupted. You get the time to respond now. Because people want to hear what is going to happen next.
I don't appreciate all this bickering which goes on with people speaking over each other. I just want to make a very important point. First of all, I greatly appreciate the comments, observations and suggestions which have been made by all the panelists, and I understand you're being absolutely fair. एक मिनट, अनुराग जी,
please ऐसा मत कीजिए अभी. अनुराग जी ऐसा please. No, one second. चारू, I'm going to handle that. 1 second. अनुराग जी, 1 मिनट, उनको जवाब तो देने दीजिए. अनुराग जी, एक जवाब तो देने दीजिए. सवाल उन्होंने उठाया, हर किसी ने सवाल उठाया. आप
सरकार 6 साल से उत्तर प्रदेश में
एक सेकंड
सरकार है, सरकार बोलिए कम
One second. Can I just want to have a constructive debate right now. अनुराग जी, आपको constructive debate नहीं करना है. No, 1 second. No, 1 second. Can I just get my producers in? Can we just bring down? Okay, I want Charu. I want a very constructive debate right now. I want a constructive debate. Charu, please go ahead. Make your responses.
Exactly. So, Shravan, I want to make some constructive points. and I'm going to repeat myself, but I want to begin by saying that as long as politicians go on like Anurag ji is doing on this debate, India is not coming to solutions here. This is not about political bickering, this is about finding solutions. And I appreciate the points and suggestions which have been raised by all the people on your panel today. I appreciate it. I also understand that at the end of the day, it is the buyer which is suffering. At the end of the day, it is the office goer, the person who's giving the EMI, a person who's lost a home he's been dreaming about, that we need to be concerned about. And that's exactly why Modi government in 2016 came up with RERA. There could be problems that we need to iron out, but rest assured, this judgment is going to be a pivotal one. It's going to be a landmark judgment where we will maybe formulate policies which are ancillary to RERA. We have to make sure that people who have been in a nexus which encourages corruption are done away with. The past governments, which for a decade, nearly more than a decade actually, have allowed this crime to go on. Sir was explaining jurisprudence to me. I am a lawyer too, sir, and I understand that. So the governments which have been hand in hand with corrupt officials, all of this needs to be dealt with. So point number one, every single home buyer which is today struggling with a disapproval rating from a bank, I am extremely certain the government is going to step in and ensure that you don't suffer in the long run. Number two, your money will come back to you with interest. I know we cannot make up for lost time, but unfortunately this is what the past governments have done to our country. It's not just about this one particular project. The past governments have done this across the country, across sectors, and this is the change Modi ji and Yogi ji are bringing about. Not just this, in the beginning I was trying to give some data and I'll give it again. 845 crore of illegal demolition has happened in 100 days of Yogi 2.2, and apart from that 68,700 encroachment sites have been seized by the government. So our government is devoted to making sure that there is ease of living. Everybody is given an equal and fair opportunity to either invest in a home, make sure their credit rating goes fine, and the culprits are brought to justice. Even if these culprits are senior CEOs of Noida Authority, if they were hand in gloves and in cahoots and making money with these corrupt politicians, they will be put behind bars. I say this with authority, and this authority comes to me because of the kind of work this party and this government has been doing.
Well, thank you very much, Charu. We're just hoping that all that you've said tonight will be acted upon, and hopefully, we're really hoping that in the days to come, in the months to come, people will get some relief. If that relief does not come in, I'm sure tonight, as people have been asking these questions will only keep increasing. And once again, this what we witness today is not the end. Rather, this is the beginning. People have started questioning. People have started questioning that our rights cannot be trampled upon. On that very note, I'd like to take a leave from all my guests right now. Thank you very much, Abhishek, Mr. Nandan, Ekta, as well as all who are joining us right now. Charu Pragya, Anurag Bhadoria, Dikshu Kukreja, Dr. Vikram Singh and Manish Pandey for joining us on the burning question. Once again, while we're celebrating the bringing down of this tower of deceit, but let's not forget, it's the beginning of several unanswered questions, and we need to keep up the fight.
Amity University Dubai has been awarded as the best university campus in the Middle East by Forbes magazine and recognized as the best university for job placements. Jumpstart your global career in Dubai with Amity, with faculty and students from over 50 nationalities. Visit amity.edu/Dubai.
Fire got erupted in the PVC, our waste area international capital.
जब तक मनीष सिसोदिया की गिरफ्तारी नहीं हो जाती है तब तक ये विरोध प्रदर्शन जारी रहेगा.
Court has granted both the accused to the police custody over the death of Sonali Fogart.
This is the question which Aam Aadmi Party is asking from BJP.
Time to take a look as to what is happening in the world of sports. Cricket rivals India and Pakistan are set to clash in the Asia Cup, which is being held in Dubai. Both the teams shall look to display their best game on the field. In their previous clash in the T20 World Cup 2021, Pakistan beat India by 10 wickets. There are 15 current or former Grand Slam champions in the women's draw at the US Open, including two-time winner Naomi Osaka.
Today, what you're witnessing is corruption has come down. As of now, it seems everything is under control. No reports of any untoward incident taking place. Most of these residents, they were asked to evacuate by 7 o'clock this morning. They'll have to perhaps return in the next 24 hours only after a safety certificate is basically issued. Hopefully, things are going to be for the better for those who've been suffering for years.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Smriti Van Memorial in Bhuj on the second day of his visit to Gujarat. The Smriti Van Memorial has been built on nearly 740-acre area to celebrate the spirit of resilience following the death of 13,000 people during the 2001 earthquake, which had its epicenter in Bhuj. The tragedy of this event was noticed all over the world. The then Chief Minister Narendra Modi announced the construction of a memorial in the memory of these children. The memorial carries the name of the people who lost their lives during the earthquake. It also has a state-of-the-art Smriti Van Earthquake Museum. Smriti Van is segregated into 7 blocks based on 7 themes: rebirth, rediscover, restore, rebuild, rethink, relive and renew. Under the guidance of Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, the construction of this memorial has been completed. 100 family members of the deceased had been invited to attend the inauguration. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Following the 8-wicket victory against Sri Lanka in the first match of the Asia Cup 2022, Afghanistan skipper Mohammad Nabi praised the opener and said that the opening duo of Hazrat Ullah Zazai and Rahman Ullah Gurbaz, whose crucial knocks gave the team a good start. Mohammad Nabi led Afghanistan, outplayed Sri Lanka in all 3 departments of the game to register an 8-wicket victory in the opening game of Asia Cup 2022. Here are the other international stories we're tracking at this hour. African heads of state, representatives of international organizations and private business leaders gathered in Tunisia for the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, a trillion event launched by Japan to promote growth and security in Africa. The summits have generated 26 development projects in 20 African countries. The discussion around an increase of Japanese investments in Africa is anticipated with particular focus on supporting startups and food security initiatives. Members of the Municipal Council in Tripoli have called for calm after deadly clashes broke out in Libya's capital between militias backed by its 2 rival administrations, portending a return to violence amid a long political statement. At least 13 civilians were killed and over 95 wounded, added that 64 families were evacuated from areas around the fighting.
Welcome this Sunday evening on a day when India has made a big stride in its fight against corruption with the bringing down of those 2 towers which were monuments to corruption in many ways, standing there for a decade and more. Today, of course, after a long fight by the residents, by those who had bought the property and the Supreme Court, now those 2 towers are down. brought down in exactly 9 seconds. But the fight, of course, is not over. It would go on till the time that all those who were involved in corruption, the builder, the bureaucrats, the officers of the Noida authority, all are brought to justice. Of course, the process is on as mandated by the Supreme Court. A special investigation team has registered an FIR. As many as 26 officials of Noida authority have been suspended from their services even as the investigation goes on. But that's going to be a process that would need some perseverance from all those who were affected. But for now, it seems that a statement has been made that all those who indulge in corruption, play with lives of people and their savings of lifetimes are not going to be spared. That India has come together now, civil society, judiciary, government, and made this statement that we are going to act tough, act together against corruption. Let's begin this bulletin with headlines first. It's the biggest demolition in India. Noida Supertech Twin Towers reduced to rubble in controlled implosion. 3,700 kilograms of explosives, Twin Towers razed to the ground in just 9 seconds. 103-meter tall symbol of corruption reduced to rubble. It's the biggest message to the corrupt. Big post demolition exercise underway. Fire tenders, smoke guns deployed. Debris now being cleared. Air quality remains under control after massive demolition exercise. Remains in the moderate level. As towers of deceit implode and bite the dust, residents rejoice. Celebrations break out across Noida. After a 9-year-long battle, the Supertech Twin Towers building located in Sector 93 of Noida has been reduced to debris in less than 9 seconds by using the waterfall implosion technology. After a dramatic explosion, the Twin Towers vanished as a huge cloud of smog spread over the entire area after the detonation. No other buildings in the vicinity were damaged. Let's look at this report.
The Supertech Twin Towers in Noida came crashing down in just about 9 seconds and have left behind a whopping 55,000 tons of debris. "22 smog guns were installed in various locations around the Twin Towers demolition site. People of Emerald Court have been fighting to bring down this building for a long time. And this comes as a lesson to all those builders who no longer can take home buyers for a ride. Justice has finally prevailed. This demolition will lead to a loss of about 1,000 crore rupees to the developer Supertech.
पुलिसकर्मी लगभग 550 के आसपास डिप्लॉय किए गए हैं और रिजर्व फोर्स 100 से अधिक है और 4 QRTs है। एक और एक्स्ट्रा हम लोग NDRF का टीम 2 जगह हम लोग डिप्लॉय कर रखे हैं।
About 5,000 residents from nearby societies were evacuated. The residents were allowed to return only after 4 p.m. after safety clearances from officials. The buildings in the vicinity were covered with geotextile fabric cover to avoid any damage due to the debris. NDRF teams and the task force were closely monitoring the situation.
टोटल कितने लोगों की सर टीम थी?
400 जन।
400 लोगों की टीम थी। तो देखिए 400 लोगों की टीम थी तो सर आज जो है आप लोग यहाँ पे मुआयना करने के लिए आए हैं?
जी बिल्कुल, वही लास्ट मोमेंट चेक कर रहे हैं खाली। हमारे सेफ्टी इंचार्ज साथ में है तो बस एक लास्ट मोमेंट चेक कर रहे हैं कि सब कुछ सेफ है, बराबर है, जो प्लान किया ऐसा हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है।
100 water tankers were deployed in various locations to be used in post-demolition cleaning activities. Medical and admin teams were on standby and the air quality index was monitored around the clock.
हम लोगों ने 50 बेड सुरक्षित किए हैं, जिसमें आईसीयू के बेड हैं, इमरजेंसी के बेड हैं, डे केयर है, ट्रायज एरिया है या आईसीयू है, वार्ड्स हैं। इसके अलावा हमारे जो ऑपरेशन थिएटर्स हैं, अगर कोई सर्जिकल इमरजेंसी होती है, किसी को चोट लगती है कि फ्रैक्चर होता है, उसके लिए वहाँ पे एनेस्थेटिस्ट है। तो इस तरह से हमने तैयारी की है कि अगर एम्बुलेंसेज की पूरी फ्लीट रखी है, 8 से 10 एम्बुलेंसेज इसी एरिया में रहेंगी।
Sanitation workers were also ready to start inspecting as soon as the demolition was complete. There were 2 sirens that went off at 2:15 p.m. and 2:27 p.m. right before the demolition. The Twin Tower was demolished as per plan. And just like that, the Tower of Deceit turned into dust, rubble and debris. 3,700 kilograms of explosives brought down the Noida Supertech Twin Towers after years of long legal battle over violation of construction laws. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
While the demolition of the Noida Twin Towers served as a big message to the corrupt, a big concern was always the environmental impact of the procedure and how it would affect life and property around it. Watch how the authorities ensured that there was minimal impact to the residents of Noida during this demolition of the decade.
$3,700 kilograms of explosives, 9,400 points of explosion. Watch how this 103-meter tall symbol of corruption was brought to the ground in a span of just 9 seconds.
Tower of Deceit, the Tower of Corruption has finally been brought down. It's now been turned into dust. The 32 and the 29th floor Twin Tower has finally been brought down. The biggest message to all those corrupt officials, to those corrupt builders, no longer will India tolerate this. Today what you're witnessing is corruption has come down. It is a meltdown of clearly those people who thought that they could have taken every Indian for a ride. And this perhaps is the biggest lesson, as we saw in just about 9 seconds.
Producing a dust cloud that rose about 300 meters above ground level, this megastructure was reduced to 80,000 tons of rubble. 30,000 tons of debris will be processed, while the remaining 50,000 tons of the debris will be buried. It would take over 3 months to clear this debris from the demolition site. The air quality index was also being closely monitored. At 1:30 p.m., the air quality index stood at a moderate level of 94. By 2:30 p.m. at the time of demolition, the AQI rose to 101, a level considered unhealthy for sensitive groups. At 3:30 p.m., the AQI rose marginally to 102. To counter the possible environmental hazard from the resulting dust clouds, fire tenders were ready on the spot. 10 anti-smog guns were used, along with water tankers fitted with sprinklers. Sweeping machines were also deployed on roads within a radius of 2 kilometers from the demolition site. In the controlled explosion that was conducted after months of planning, authorities suggest there was minimal impact to residents and property nearby.
आसपास की सोसाइटीज़ में कोई डैमेज ब्रॉडली नहीं है, लेकिन जैसा मैंने बताया अभी जस्ट ब्लास्ट होके हटा है। 1 घंटे के अंदर स्थिति बेहतर पता लगेगी।
लार्जली जो पूरी एक्सरसाइज है एज पर प्लान्स थी और उसका एग्जीक्यूशन बिल्कुल एज पर प्लान हुआ है। बाकी अभी एक्सपर्ट टीम्स जो है वो मौके पे हैं, वो असेसमेंट कर रहे हैं। हम लोग भी अब उधर ही जा रहे हैं। उनका असेसमेंट के बाद जो है आपको फिर अपडेट देंगे।
हमारे को एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने रिक्वेस्ट किया था